You said that migration has always been there. So in other words, you can't really stop people from moving because it's about globalization.
Sure.
So if they are going to move, what should be told them if they will move?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why they need the information. Like somebody offers you this fantastic contract, there should be, I'll give you an example of countries similarly situated like Nigeria. Like Philippines, they are mainly source country, and there are people all over, especially trafficked in Middle East and domestic work, nursing. They have now overseas workers developmental organization. They have migrant information center, and for you to travel, and they have a serious program at the airport. Even when you lie about your age, they have something they can test. You know, doctors, they can tell your age, because that is also what is happening in Nigeria. They lie, and you see them. So many of them in detention center. I knew they were under 18, but you ask them, they say they are 18 and above. So if they have to deal with this, you have to provide the information. Look at the contract. Where are you going? Because we are talking of Libya today. Do you know how many Nigerians are in Vietnam? Do you know how many are in Indonesia, Malaysia? And some of these countries, they go, you know, which you know the country already have problem. You know how many of them in Brazil looking for work, and you're like, you're going to Brazil for what? In Vietnam, Mekong region. I mean, I've traversed all of that, and I know how usually they have also trafficking and migration problem. Apart from maybe Thailand, that is relatively economically well off, the rest are already in problem. And then you see Nigerians going to Cambodia for what? So the Asian dimension is even there, unexplored. So this is not just one-off thing or dealing with the symptoms.
As far as Cambodia, you say?
Yes, you see some of the. So even in Uruguay, as far as Uruguay, when I got there on a mission, I was doing a mission to Uruguay and Argentina. And 4 Nigerians were already thrown overboard. They were traveling, hoping they were getting to America, and they were given rafts, because when they get ship with irregular migrants, they are going to detain the ship, they find them heavily. So they threw them overboard, and they gave them raft, and they were drifting before they were rescued with a helicopter. And I met at least 2 of these gentlemen in a migrant detention center in Uruguay. So when you think of where you find them, I recall a Nigerian girl who had frostbite, trying to go through Russia, who was being trafficked, and then already lost the leg.
Let's talk about rejection. Let's talk about the rejection part of this, because some of these countries where this high volume of migrants are heading towards don't want the migrants to get into the country.
Sure.
Do you think that there's a level of conspiracy to try to stop them by all means, as we hear that sometimes militias have been paid to stop ships that are coming into, say, Spain,
they want to stop them everywhere. Even Spain, why they are stuck now, even in Algeria and Morocco in Uj, is that the kind of bilateral between Morocco and Spain is strong, and Frontex is working, and they've closed that part. Otherwise, you get to Tangier, for example, is like less than 14 kilometers to Spain. So they are now all attention is to Libya, because the government is a fragmented and fragile government. So the problem now is that the restrictive migration policies of favored countries, of destination countries, is becoming more restrictive, and is becoming highly politicized. They see migrants as, they are coming in to just parasites on their social security system, and they don't want them. There is growing xenophobia, especially in the era of terrorism, and then the world insecurity. So that's why it's important, even as a special rapporteur, saying this, we have to have safe migration options. We must have safe migration options.
What does that mean?
It means that, because when you have these restrictive migration laws and policies, it's look at when you're looking for Schengen visas, they make it almost impossible, even for normal people, people who have decent job here, who doesn't constitute any flight risk. They make it even impossible for them to get visa. Then even for those who are aspiring to be there and who think that is a land of honey and milk, if you have safe migration option, it's so first to recognize that you have neighbor needs in certain area. Because in some countries, mind you, the work that is being filled in by migrants, especially irregular migrants, are the 3 Ds job: dirty, difficult, dangerous. And some of them lowly paid jobs, because their citizens have actually migrated out of those jobs. They can't do it. They are no longer doing it. They have grown, so they still need unskilled labor, and including who can fill it up. But they're not recognizing. They don't want to recognize it.
But they need it.
Yes, and it goes underground, and they pretend they don't know what's going on.
If there's no demand,
there's no supply. So demand and supply are not a shortfall.
So in a way, those countries that have restrictive migration are in a way encouraging this migration.
Exactly. So because anywhere I look at it, when I was on a mission in Australia, I pointed that out. They will even keep them in islands so far away from Australia if they arrive by ship. And then I said, you must have safe migration options. And now they've started certain programs with certain countries where because there are some who need seasonal workers, maybe for harvesting of farm produce. So if you need seasonal workers, for example, and another country where Nigeria goes, said, okay, Nigeria is going to provide you 10,000 workers at this particular time of year, or for 1 year, for 3 months or 6 months, when you need them. They will pass through official channel, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, especially Foreign Ministry, and then they will know, and they can get these young men and women or whoever, they go there, they come back. They also be able to have some cultural programs that can integrate them in the country. They can look at the country and they will see that life is not that rosy as they think, and
Did you make this
back.
proposition?
Oh yeah, I've proposed that, because what happened is that when they take money even for combating trafficking and all of that, they don't look at what are the other bilaterals that help safe migration options.
So this is a problem that can be solved?
Yes, it can. With cooperation, because Nigeria have a lot of, and even Africa, cooperation with the EUs, but they are all skewed because all they want is to keep them out, keep Nigerians out, keep Africa, keep all the migrants. But you have to create opportunity for safe. Actually, UN has started something, because there's what is called Global Compact on safe, orderly, and regular migration. And part of it is also to ensure that you have safe migration that is legal, that will lead to gainful employment, that is non-exploitative.
What do you think is the role of the foreign missions, or should I say the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, in trying to understand the dynamics, the dynamics really, and how to apply some of these laws and some of the suggestions that you've made, and see that we have got a better deal, even if Nigerians have to move out?
Yes. The problem Nigerians that I've interacted with have all seen is that they don't get that leadership, even sometimes by the embassy. And where the embassy also try to respond, they too are so frustrated because they don't even have money to repatriate them. And I've given them example in all the countries I've gone. I say, look at what the Philippines have done, and you can do that. Because through that Overseas Development Administration, if you're going for foreign work, they contribute money, and through remittances, they put away certain money. So every embassy will have some money to repatriate people. So if you feel that you're a victim and you've turned up, you can go to your embassy and you have hope that they can return you back. But then Nigerians have paid so much, some of them taking through oaths, and they are telling to pay 35, 45. So they know already we are in trouble here. But how do we go back? How do I face those debtors? I'll be seen as a failure. How do they've sold the last land in my place in order to send me here. They've done this and that, and they still remain there. So Nigerian embassy, first you have to take through some of them through. In Italy, they are very aware. In some of the countries, they are extremely very aware. I felt sorry for them because they don't have the means to be able to intervene effectively. Look at the issue of biometrics. Some of those identified, because part of remedy even for destination countries, that if you identify a person as a trafficked person, you have to give the person a legal stay. And most of the European countries, they do that. In Canada, US, they have a special trafficking visa. But the problem is that Nigerians now, they have already all these forged passports, and they have their biometrics, and for you to be given another passport when you have this biometric entered and you want to change name and all of that is difficult. So they are stuck there in Italy. With some of them in Italy, the government willing to give them their legal stay.
So there are fake passports?
Yes.
Already
they obtained
Nigerian,
and how they came in.
Nigerian passports.
Yes. So now they have a problem. And Nigerian government in Germany, all of those places, they said, okay, can you issue them Nigerian passport? They've been identified as Nigerians so that they can at least have a legal stay here, so they can give them their papers. It's not coming off. Because they said, oh, they need to come back home in order to do that and effect any change. And coming back home means already they've lost everything, you know. And there are countries that have approached me. I said, look, we want to send these people back home. We have so amount of money. I recall Denmark when I was in Joshua Rapporteur, the ambassador of the foreign affairs minister. We met in New York. He said, we want to give 15,000 euros to each of the identified victims so they can go back. And I said, okay, but don't give it directly to them. You give it to them. I would like you to I put them in touch with NAPTIP so that they will monitor this, because otherwise they can come with this money and their trafficker will just collect this as part of the debt they are owing them. And
why not trying to encourage that passports are issued out of Nigeria?
Sure.
Why was it so difficult? Because we've got missions in other countries. Why was it so difficult, seeing that these people are in distress and need that help at that time, to offer them those passports?
Yeah, it's just protocol. You know how this rep-tapism work. Even the immigration will tell you, and luckily we have also a CJ controller of the current CJ is someone who has personally been involved in trafficking and had worked in NAPTI. But then you see they've gone also on this trip, but they will still come back, that they have to come back to Nigeria. So they should have in some of these hotspots a means of assisting them and making sure that they get the right passport, because those countries also want to give them even their legal stay. But what is standing between that? I've had many requests about Nigeria on that over and over from many countries, from NGOs, and the problem is, as we speak, is not solved. Many religious group runs shelter in Italy for them, and they're saying this is the only problem. Why this victim has not gotten this, and they still leave them stranded and kind of without any in irregular situation.
Can't the embassies help to resolve these passport issues?
No, they have not been able, because they said they're required to go home. That is biometrics. So if they haven't had it, if they don't have it, if they have the regular one, or they have one, but if they have this on biometrics, they've had fake, already put names and their fingerprint is there, and now they've been found and the actual name they want to change, they will say they're required to be done in Abuja. So I hope they find a solution to that. But then I hope they find a solution, because the situation is distressing, and also we are just like I said, what we are seeing is even a tip of the iceberg from what I've seen. I went to a mission in Gabon. Will you believe tomorrow if people tell you that the transatlantic slave trade is going on in Lagos? And that Lagos, where I am here now, is a transit point for trafficked persons moving from here to other West African and other countries.
And traveling,
yes, and traveling in the same, almost in the same way. Because these people, and I met quite a number of them in Gabon, they said they were from Togo, Benin, and other places, and that they were in a boat for 5 days. You can't get up, a person sit like this, sit, and then you can't eat, and they travel from Lagos, they will arrive at night there, they will go. It is exactly the same way. So we're just hearing about other countries. What about what's going on in Nigeria? Nigeria is a source country, is a transit country, is also a destination country.